Welcome back. First take on the road. We're still at the MGM Grand complex. Prior to break, we received a shot. Skip Bayless, actually, you almost fell out of your chair. You almost fell out of your chair. I mean, it's a big deal. We have the Oracle of Boxing with us, Teddy Atlas. Teddy, we discussed this in the morning meeting. We were under the impression that you were going to pick Mayweather. So it's official now. Manny Pacquiao will win because if you say so, it's a wrap.
So, come on, Pacquiao.
This man has been with ESPN since 1998. He is a seasoned journalist. He is speaking from expertise. So please tell us why you believe Manny will win the fight.
Listen, the safest, he wants to know why. Should I turn to you and tell you directly? All right, I'll tell you. All right. Listen, the easiest pick, the safest pick would be Mayweather. There's a reason why up on the boards in this betting city, he's the favorite. It's kind of like when he's a counterpuncher. He lays back. He doesn't take many chances. You know, he's a paradox. He's really an interesting guy, Floyd, because he's had a lot of risk outside the ring, but inside the ring, that's his haven. And that's where he plays it safe. And it's got him to 47-0. Who can argue with it? He's a guy that lives off defense, lives off counterpunching. And when we were kids, you ever remember that maybe there was somebody on top of the hill and you tried to get up that hill? And they were throwing things, hopefully not rocks and stuff like that, but they were throwing things at you, and they always had the edge. It was kind of hard to get up that hill because they could get to you before you could get to them. Well, in that way, you should probably pick Mayweather. Because Mayweather is the guy who's laying back, he's looking to counterpunch, he's got that southpaw killer, the right hand, he throws it fast, he throws it straight, he understands when to throw it, he's got the timing, and when Pacquiao is going to come forward, he's going to be that guy on top of the hill, looking, when he takes all the risk, he's going to look to land. But, and there's a but, if Freddie and him are able to understand what I think I would do if I was in a camp, I would take that one thing away from him. If they can do that, they can win the fight. What they have to do is, when you get to that front door and that right hand's going to come, just when you get to that area that fire zone, where if you take another inch, the punch is coming. Just before you're there, where you're outside that door, if you knock on that door, and the knock in boxing is to feint, if you knock on that door and you're not there, that right hand will come to that door and there'll be nobody there. And then you're safe to come in. That's what he's got to do. Pacquiao has to knock on that door, get that right hand out of the way, get rid of that kid on top of the hill, throwing that junk. Bam, get the right hand out of the way, and then come in. Then, it's all right. That's all right. That's okay.
Let my man finish.
Listen,
we'll get to Stephen A.
Stephen's having a moment.
Yeah.
That's okay. Let him have his moment.
Yes, of course.
That's all right. But listen, Pacquiao, you have to put tangible stuff with it. So here's the tangible stuff. Pacquiao has the hand speed.
Sure.
He's comparable. And some people think he's faster. I'm going to say it's even. He's got the hand speed. He's got the volume punching. And the greatest strength of Mayweather. And he's a terrific fighter. There's no denying that. Both these fighters are terrific. But Mayweather's greatest strength, his greatest strength is also his greatest weakness, his defense. Because sometimes he will go into that defense a little too long. And that's where my pick comes in. That's where Pacquiao has the hand speed, has the volume punching when he's going and he's dishing and dashing and he's slipping and he's sliding and he's not doing what he's doing. He's not laying on the ropes. He's moving his head. And when he's doing that and not firing back, there's moments when he's too defensive and too much of anything can hurt you. We all understand that. There's moments where Pacquiao with the fast hands, where Pacquiao with the volume punches, the punches and bunches, and the most important thing, more important than the hand speed, these. His feet.
Feet.
Because you know what? Canelo, you guys are real boxing fans. When Canelo got whitewashed, you know that one judge, that corrupt judge we got rid of, that had it even? You know, that aside from that, Canelo lost every round. Mayweather won every round. But people said Canelo was too slow with his hands. But it wasn't that. His hands weren't that slow. His feet were in cement. Pacquiao has the quick feet.
He does.
What good is it having fast hands if you don't have the feet to get you there to deliver those hands?
Preach. Yep.
Pacquiao has the foot speed to get there to deliver those hands. Pacquiao can out-hustle. Pacquiao can outwork him. Pacquiao in those spots, Pacquiao can out-hustle him, outwork him, and he can steal rounds where he can grab a decision.
Time out before you ask this question. What do you say what Mayweather says? He says he's a reckless fighter. Pacquiao's a reckless fighter, is he?
Listen, there's an element to it. Of course, I just said that. There's an element to his aggression that's reckless. When he comes in that front door, sometimes he gets a little antsy with that power left hand. He looks to throw it from a little too soon, a little too far away. He doesn't have the patience like my man over here. You know, no.
Wait, Kerry.
But sometimes he gets reckless, and Pacquiao will reach with that left hand a little bit. That is the moment Mayweather is waiting for.
Okay.
But that's what trainers are there for.
Okay.
And that's what Freddie Roach is there for. And that's what this is there for. That Pacquiao looks at the film, sees that, understands it the same way as I understand it, and they come up with an adjustment. They come up with an idea where they knock on the door, and instead of coming in, get that right hand and then come in the side door. Use those quick feet to get angles and come in off the side where that southpaw killer, that right hand, that timing punch, that counter punch cannot be effective.
Kerry, this is so good. I'm going to vote that Stephen A. not be allowed to speak in this segment. He is preaching wisdom. Wisdom from Teddy Atlas, the oracle.
Teddy! I gotta give it up for Teddy! Teddy! Thank you.
Your turn.
The floor is yours, young man.
You know,
Take your
I'm
time.
kind of big on the lecture circuit, and when I give my speeches, I always use a line, and I would ask everybody to let me finish the sentence. I am brilliant because I know I'm not. I learned from those who are. When it comes to boxing, this is one of the people who taught me the game. I've been listening to Teddy Atlas for over 20 years. So when you and I've had conversations in the past, and you'll educate me, and I'll listen and learn because I know you know what I don't know. But the student, the pupil, does learn from the teacher from time to time.
Here we go.
And I recall on many occasions when you talk about somebody taking out Floyd, you point out these things. But it didn't happen because the very thing that you pointed out that what people needed to do, somehow, for some reason, they got into the ring against them. And Teddy Atlas couldn't help them then. He gave them all the advice. He gave them the counsel. He gave them the tutelage. He gave them the ingredients, the recipe. And somehow, some way, they just threw in just a little bit too much paprika, a little bit too much salt, a little bit too much pepper. It just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough.
How do you know what paprika is?
Paprika's good. Check it out. Hold on. Listen to the point.
My man is good.
What I'm trying to say to you is this. Hold on, Teddy. Come back here.
But let me ask one question.
Come to me.
He's my man. I love him. But let me ask one question. We baking a cake here, or we talking about fight?
That's nice. All this cheering is just taking the time away from avoiding the real point. The real point that I'm trying to make is this. We can sit there and say all of those things. At some point in time, if you've seen a man 47 times, you figured out what you need to do in order to beat him. The question is, can you pull it off? And what I'm saying to you is this. All of that stuff Teddy just broke down, astutely I might add, doesn't negate the fact that Manny Pacquiao, when you talk about a trainer, Freddie Roach, I'm sorry, wasn't Freddie Roach's trainer when he was in the ring and he got knocked out by Marquez? Wasn't Freddie Roach there? I think he was there. Not only did he train Pacquiao, he was there. Not only that, if you remember the HBO special, leading up to it, Freddie Roach, no, stop it. Freddie Roach said, quote, his manager said, I thought he was dead. Freddie Roach said, well, I didn't think he was dead, but I thought about it for a second. We can talk all we want to, but you know something? You still got to get in the ring and do it. You understand? And that's what it comes down to. This is Floyd we're talking about here. Teddy Atlas is brilliant. But you know something? He can't fight for Manny Pacquiao. He's got to do that himself.
I have one final question for the boxing oracle. Teddy Atlas.
Don't forget, there was a precedent here in the history of this great sport. There was somebody who was a hell of a heavyweight. His name was Larry Holmes. And he got to 48-0. And he fought somebody named Michael Spinks.
Yep.
And all of a sudden that old disappeared. There comes a time.
Sure.
When sometimes it's the other guy's time.
It didn't disappear with Rocky Marciano. It didn't disappear with Rocky Marciano. Rocky Marciano stayed undefeated.
Okay. Teddy.
There comes a time when sometimes
Time out.
Gotta go.
Time out.
Last question.
We're gonna let him hang out with us.
Oh,
We're gonna break in.
He's gonna come back?
And he's
Okay.
gonna come back
All right,
because
that's
this
fine.
discussion is
I haven't even started yet, but that's
clearly.
okay.
That's why we need a break. So you can start, sir. For sake, back in a moment, folks. We're on the road for the big fight. May 2nd, MGM Grand. See you in a minute. First take on the road, folks. We're still at the MGM Grand Pool Complex. Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, May 2nd. The days leading up to the fight, we will be here live with special guests to share with you our astute boxing analysis, what the guests believe, and obviously we appreciate the fans for joining us and hanging out with us. Before we went to break, the oracle of boxing, Teddy Atlas, broke it down as to why he thought Manny Pacquiao would win. Skip Bayless, your take to join in.
So, Teddy, you have picked Pacquiao. I picked Pacquiao about 5 years ago to win this fight. But I have gone so far as to say that Manny Pacquiao will knock out Floyd Mayweather Jr. Knock him out. Can he? Will he?
Listen, I always have a saying in boxing where punches are born, they're not made. And the natural puncher in this fight is Pacquiao.
Sure.
But he hasn't knocked anyone out in 5 years. And if you look at him, he's a different guy. He's not as big. I no comment. I don't know why.
Still looks good.
But he's not as big. The truth has to be said. You know, the truth has to be said. Floyd, 6 years ago, Floyd did not want that fight because he said, before I take the fight, I want him to take blood testing. I want him to take a liquid-style blood testing to see whether or not he's on PEDs. Now, at that time, Manny refused to do it. There's no proof of anything, but all we know is what we know. And he refused to take it. All I know is that now here we are 5 years later. The fight's going to happen. He agreed to blood testing. He agreed to the PED testing. But we're here now, and all I know is he's smaller. I mean, I trust my eyes. You know, forget about all the other stuff. I trust the common sense test. I look at him, he's smaller. He's not as destructive. He's not that seek and destroy guy. He's not as aggressive. You know, he doesn't have the power he had back then. Now, the natural puncher is still Pacquiao. He's the guy that was born to be the puncher. But now, in this fight, he's not scoring a knockout. For me, in this fight, he wins a decision, but he doesn't score a knockout. If there's a knockout scored, I got to tell you the truth. It'd be Floyd. Only because, and listen, Floyd doesn't make his living knocking guys out. I understand that. He doesn't, but he throws concise punches. He throws timing punches, and timing punches can hurt you. And now, and accurate punches. Concise means accurate, by the way. Just so you know. And he's the bigger guy now. So right now in this fight, you'd have to change the labels and say, if you want to go into those areas and label somebody the puncher, in this particular fight, it'd have to be Mayweather.
Okay. I have spoken to Fred. I'll let you go in just a second. I've spoken to Freddie Roach about this. He believes that after Manny's spiritual conversion about 5 years ago, he began pulling punches in fights and taking it easy on opponents that he could have put away. You and I have discussed this before. Freddie talked to me about it. He believes that Manny just simply doesn't like what Floyd stands for. So his killer instinct, which Manny talked about yesterday, has come back for this fight. I don't think he'll toy with Floyd Mayweather if he gets him in trouble. So I still believe the puncher, the natural-born puncher, is still there. And I believe he wants this knockout worse than anything he's ever wanted in his boxing career.
I'm sure he wants it. That doesn't mean he's going to get it. But I'm sure that he does want it. But listen, this is not to be a wise guy or to be disparaging towards anybody's beliefs and anybody's conversion. But when you talk about religion conversion, did that coincide with the same time that he got knocked out by Marquez?
No, it was way before that.
No, but what I'm saying is, for me, the religion conversion, changing the way you think about life, the way you treat people, the way you conduct yourself every day, that's to be applauded, that you care about those things. But from a boxing standpoint, I have to stand on the ground that I walk on, that I live on. And the ground that I live on, that I walk on, that I've been in for 40 years, is that it's more likely that some of that aggression and some of those bad intentions, some of that confidence of throwing those big punches was probably taken away when he got knocked out by Marquez. Because when you get knocked out and you fall face first, you know what? That does something to you. That changes you. That makes you think.
Wait, are you switching your pick now?
No.
No.
And here's the video.
Listen, I said from the beginning that the easiest pick for me would be to take Floyd. That would be easy pick. But I'm not here to do easy picks. I'm here to make an argument.
Teddy.
If I think intellectually somebody, especially an underdog, can win, I can make an argument that Pacquiao can win.
Well, let me close this segment out by saying this. Number one, that religious conversion and all of this stuff, George Foreman went through that too. Ultimately knocked out Michael Moorer, but it didn't stop him from losing to Evander Holyfield. That doesn't mean you're going to win. That's number one. No disrespect. Number two, when you talk about Floyd, yes, he's bigger. Yes, he's stronger. We get that. But also the one thing, and Teddy, you know this, and I know we got to go, but when you are coming in, sharp, accurate, concise punches
and that's what I
hurt even more because you're coming into the punch. Manny Pacquiao, the chances of him catching Floyd coming in are slim to none because of how cautious Floyd can be.
Unless he feints him. If he feints him,
that's right.
You know what can happen?
Feint him.
You can counterpunch the counterpuncher.
Yes, you
can
could.
feint him, you get him to lead, and then you counterpunch the counterpuncher. For me, as a trainer, that's one of the things I'd be, and to finish, to his point, to his astute point, when Mr. Foreman, when George Foreman, the great George Foreman, when he made his religion conversion, that was right after he got knocked down by Jimmy Young. By the way, that right hand that hit him, maybe that showed him a little bit of a light that actually brought him a little further to his conversion, where later on he became a different George. A George that sold hamburgers, that sold grills, all that stuff. And did great things, won a heavyweight title later on. But that right hand might have helped him see a little light.
Teddy Atlas, ladies and gentlemen. When we